Hi, Mrs McTaggart here. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about BODMAS, which is also known as BIDMAS, and BOMDAS and PEMDAS. There are so many different acronyms for this little topic. So I use BODMAS, your teacher might use BIDMAS. The only difference is we've got a different word for this second thing we do. Now, BODMAS is like a little acronym to help you remember the order you should do a sum in. If you're given a sum that's got a mixture of different operations like times, divide, add, subtract, some brackets or a power in there, and it helps you just remember what should have preferential treatment. Now, sometimes I think when you get taught substitution in algebra, it kind of explains why this is, but until you get to there, we go with this word BODMAS. So the word BODMAS, as you can see it in bright blue here, this is acronyms for the following words. So B stands for brackets. If you see any kind of brackets, you do the sum inside the brackets first of all. The O stands for powers of, but that can also be I for indices. Now, indices is a very fancy word that you don't really meet until further into the National 5 math scores, that stands for powers. So you can see that it actually is the exact same thing, yeah? So powers of or indices, both telling you to do anything with powers next. Then we've got divide and multiply and add and subtract. Now, confusion comes in here with the divide, multiply. People think, well, D comes before M, but remember I said this could also be BOMDAS. So the M and D are interchangeable. Because what happens is when we teach you something, when we first teach you numbers, we teach you to add, and then straight after it we teach you to subtract, because they're the opposite of each other. So they're almost, I talk to them, they're like brothers and sisters. They have no preferential treatment. If they both appear together, you just do whoever comes first in the sum. The same with division and multiplication. Once we teach you to multiply, we teach you how to divide. So if they come together in the same sum, we don't have a preferential treatment. We just work left to right. So you have to think of those four as being grouped as two families. What the BODMAS bit is telling you, basically, is if you have a sum with an add and a divide, you do the divide first. Or if you've got a multiply and a subtract, so i.e. one from this section, one from this section, you do the divide and multiply first. So it's really important. And I'll explain some of this when I do examples. So this slide is literally full of examples, okay? I'm just going to work you through all the different styles you could be asked in a test or homework or something like that. Now, be aware, I'm really a bit of a stickler for working. A BODMAS it could essentially be a 2-mark question, and some people will get it right, some people will get it wrong, but in maths you can pick up marks. So even if you don't follow the BODMAS, please remember and show your teacher what your thinking is. What sum did you do first? And write that bit down, because it could be a difference between no marks and 1 mark. Hopefully we're going to get 2 marks though. So here are my examples. So we have a sum 1 plus 4 times 3. So you're looking at this, we've got an add and a divide. So remember BODMAS, I'm going to write it down the side of my slide here. So remember BODMAS, we have got an add here and we've got a multiply. So multiply came first, so we're going to do this little sum first, and I'm just going to underline it to highlight that. So we're going to do the multiply bit first. So our working becomes, we leave the 1 as it is, because the 1 was already there and we're not doing anything with it just now. So we're doing 1 plus 4 times 3 is 12. So that sum is really 1 plus 12, which is 13. So you see what I mean by working. If I just wrote the answer 13, brilliant, I got it right. But if I accidentally did 1 plus 4 is 5 and then did 5 times 3 is 15, if I just wrote 15, I would get 0 out of 2 in the test. However, if I wrote that I did 1 plus 4 was 5, and then did 5 times 3 was 15, I would suddenly get 1 out of 2 in the test. Does that make sense? So it's all about showing your working as well. So anything you do in your head counts as your working. That's what you should be writing down. Right, let's have a look at the second one. So I've got the BODMAS here again. I'm just going to rub out the M and the D. So we've got the word BODMAS. This time we have a divide and a subtract. So divide came first in the BODMAS, then the subtract. So we're going to do divide, then subtract. So my working will be, remember I'm doing the divide bit first. So I'm going to do 8, take away 6 divided by 2 is 3. So it's 8 take away 3, which is 5. Now, something I spot my pupils do wrongly a lot here is they reverse this sum and turn it into 3 take away 8, and then they'll say it's minus 5. Look at the sum again. That number 8 was right at the start, and it says 8 take away this full thing here. It says 8 take away whatever that sum happens to be. So the 8 still is at the start of your sum. So it's 8 take away your answer of 3, which is 5. So just watch out for that as well, okay? Okay, let's do my third example. This time I've got 10 plus half of 8. Now the of bit throws some people, and some people might think, oh, the of bit comes from the O. Of really just means multiply. If you're asked to do half of 8, you're doing a half times 8. So again, we've got an add and a multiply. So there's your multiply, there's your add. We're going to do the multiplication bit first. So we're going to do half of 8. So my sum is 10 plus half of 8 is 4. So 10 plus 4 is 14. And then this is a classic example of what we mean by B for brackets. The minute you see brackets, you do that sum first. So it's just 9, take away whatever's in the brackets, which is 5 plus 7, which is 12. And 9 take away 12 will give you negative 3. Hopefully you've done negative numbers before you do BODMAS, because I do have some negatives in here. Right, let's get some more. So these are the ones, E and F are my kind of family ones, my ones where we kind of break the BODMAS. So times and divide, do not fall for doing the divide bit first. It won't change your answer as much here, but it does in other examples. So times and divide are of the same family, they're brothers and sisters. So we just take the sum as it comes. So you do 6 times 8 is 48. And then we're going to divide that by 4, which gives us 12. So in this one, we just literally work left to right. The same with this second one. You've got an add and a subtract. So remember, don't be fooled and do the add first of all. The only way you would do that add before you do the takeaway is if I'd put brackets around it. Can you see that? Then I would be forced to do the add first, but the brackets aren't there. So the way I explain this one, I just think of it, well, there's 10 people on a bus, 6 get off, and then 7 get on. The minute I put it into that connotation, you agree, oh, wait a minute, I would just work left to right. So, family, add and subtract, brothers and sisters, no favourites, so left to right. So you just do 10 take away 6 is 4, add on your 7, 4 add 7 is 11. So watch out for those two. Okay, we are stepping it up a notch now. We're going to have a wee bit more going on. We have multiplications and a subtraction here. So what we're essentially doing is we are doing two different sums. We're going to do this multiplication, we're going to do this multiplication, and then we're going to get those two answers and subtract them. So 7 times 3 is 21, 4 times 2 is 8, so we're really left with 21 take away 8, which is an answer of 13. This question is similar. There's loads of different signs going on and negatives, but we're going to do that multiplication, we're going to do that division, and then we're going to subtract them. So 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Take away 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. And then I've actually got some more integers coming in here. There's a double negative in the middle, so that sum becomes minus 9 plus 3, which is negative 6. Again, I hope you've seen negative numbers before now. So loads of different signs. You're looking for any kind of division or multiplication sum to get done first there. Okay, let's look at this one. So at first glance, this looks like two identical sums, but they're not. We're just going to show you how the placement of these brackets completely changes what you do. So remember BODMAS, that O, or BIDMAS, if you're using BIDMAS, the I or the O was anything to do with powers of or indices. So we have to do the power bit first. So in my first example, we're going to do that sum first. So this is just 6 plus 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. Now another way to write that is I could write it as 3 times 3. And then using the old BODMAS, it's still telling us we need to do that multiplication bit first, which is 6 plus 9, which is 15. But remember, this line, you could have come straight from here to here if you're good at knowing what your squared numbers are. 3 squared is 9. Now in this one, I've put brackets around the 6 plus 3, so I have to do the B from the BODMAS first. So I do the sum in the brackets first, which gives me 9 squared, and 9 squared is just 9 times 9, which is 81. So look at the two very different answers. Now I've just noticed in that last one it looks a wee bit like a 15. So I'm going to a 16, so I'll change that back to 15. So that's some basic BODMAS questions. I'm going to put in some harder ones on this slide, okay? Lots of powers, square roots going on in here as well. I'm just going to alter this one so the square root goes over everything. So first one has a bracket. So remember, BODMAS down the side. the bracket gets done first. So we're doing 25 take away 7, which is 18. And then 18 divided by 9 is 2. Again, we'll do the brackets first on this one. So it's 18 divided by 8 take away 2 is 6. So 18 divided by 6 is 3. So the bracket ones are generally done pretty well by pupils because your instinct is always do the sum in the brackets first. The next couple, remember O or I powers of bit first of all. So for both of these two questions, we're going to do these little power bits first. I just wanted to do some more examples with squares and possibly square roots. So this gives us 100 divided by 5 squared is 25 and 100 divided by 25 is 4. On this one, I'm going to do 4 squared is 16, 2 squared is 4. Remember, it's just 4 times 4 and 2 times 2. And it gives us an answer of 20. And then this one here, square root, well, I have to do the bit in the bracket first. Now, square root covers everything. But remember, B for bracket still is there first. So 43 take away 7 is 36. So we've got the square root of 36. So ask yourself, what number times itself is 36? It's 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So the answer is 6 there. And then on my very last one, there's lots going on here. So I've got 87 take away. We're going to do the bit in the bracket first. So that gives us 8 squared. Then still BODMAS going on. So we're going to square the 8. So we've got 87 take away 64. And 87 take away 64 is 23. So loads of examples here. I really hope this has helped. BODMAS is tricky and it's really easily forgotten, but you will use it a lot of the times. Your parents will argue that it's not the right answer. You work left to right, but remember, sometimes your parents can't remember because they've not done it for a long time. So please remember, BODMAS, BIDMAS, BOMDAS, PEMDAS, whatever method you want, look for a division or a multiply before you dare add or subtract. And remember, please show you're working. Thanks for watching. I hope this has helped. Bye-bye.